Hello and welcome to The World as We See It. My name is Lloyd Hobart Mitchell and I'm an ordinand with the St George's congregation here in Pattaya in Thailand. Um, this transmission is something we do a couple of times a week, and I would like to welcome you if this is your first visit or even if it's a return visit. I hope we can provide you with something to reflect on and think about, and maybe say something even a little thought provoking, controversial, even. And if that is the case, do get in touch, do drop us a line. I've got the comments box on Twitch and Facebook open so we can see obviously anything you're sending us, and that would make it really very special. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, my formation, my training that I'm going through as I, go, through the process of learning to become a priest um, is overseen by Father David Price, and it's supported by Father Tom McCusker, who's the former chaplain of St George's. Father David is the current chaplain, and actually, it's Father David's organ playing you can hear as we came into the transmission. Um, he's a wonderful, wonderful organ player, and I'll be talking about that at the end of the transmission, after we've had a chance to look at the church times and after we've had a review of the order of service for the Eucharist tomorrow. We'll have a quick chat about Father David's organ recital, which is coming up soon, actually, in only, well, I mean, I say it's soon, it's at the end of July. Um, Father David's going to be coming to the UK and touring the UK, giving recitals in a number of churches. So that's a great opportunity if you are nearby any of the churches, or on the way. Then maybe there is a chance that you could get him to come and see your church too, and you would have an opportunity to listen to him play. Anyway, we'll chat more about that later on. What we're doing now is going to go over to the church times, and this is the bit where we always get a little bit unstuck because of technology. So we'll give it a go. We'll try our best to make things work, and we have to do a thing called web share, and this is where it always, and I don't know why, but it always tends to go just a little bit awry. So fingers crossed this works. Got to click a couple of buttons. Now, I've tried to set this up before prior to doing the transmission, and it never works then. So we'll see whether we can get something going now. So we've got that looking like that, and I think that's probably not going to work, so then we'll try it again, and hopefully the second time round it will work. I don't know why it's so temperamental. It just is. I think that's done it. So hopefully now you should be able to see the church times. Certainly I can, so that's good news. So let's have a look. It says our first response must be prayer, and this is a review, an article about how believers in the UK are reacting to the war. And of course, you know, if you're engaging with people of faith, then yes, that should be the first response, but not the only response. My opinion really is that there should be action. Action should always come after reflection and prayer, and I'm sure that there's a great deal that everyone, irrespective of whether they're in the UK or anywhere else for that matter, there is a great deal that can be done. So I do hope that everyone can do their bit, so to speak, that could make a huge difference to the people. Um, I do know lots of people in Wales have opened their houses and said that they would welcome um, a Ukrainian refugee, or in some cases, a Ukrainian refugee family. And I think maybe that's something really practical that people can do to help. Um, Quite amazing, quite beautiful. Um, so this is interesting, isn't it? We'll be quizzed on question time about Ukraine, climate change, and non-dom status. I think it's excellent that the Archbishop would make himself available for the program question time. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, really, but it does mean that uh, a Christian perspective will be put forward in a current affairs program. Um, I think it's essential, in fact, and there should be more of it. Very often the panel is made up of secular politicians, and also very often, just you know folk who are celebrities. Sometimes I've had it on and not really known who's who. So if we can get some prominent Christians on question time, I think that's a great opportunity. So, of course, talking about war crimes, uh, anyone would have to agree that there would need, at the end of these hostilities, there would need to be questions asked, there would need to be investigations made by the International Criminal Courts and any other appropriate authorities. Um, and I think that actually the Archbishop, and I read a little bit about this um, earlier on today. I think the Archbishop actually made a very good uh, point, right? That justice takes a very long time, right? Um, and not just seeking justice, but also that uh, the longer the war goes on for, very often the worse war crimes get. So, and that's pretty true. We've all seen that time and time again. Um, Now, I'm not sure why. I can notice that my transmission is sticking. Um, I'm not sure why that is happening. I can see the errors at my end. We've had 4 so far, and I'm not sure why that is, but hopefully at your end it's coming through okay. I have only got a very small number of um, you know things open. I've got the I've got the streaming software together with Firefox and Chrome, and nothing else. We've only got 3 things open, so I'm not sure why it's acting up. I'll have to review the transmission later, just to double check to see how it came across. But from my end, I can see that we've had a few little errors, and that's really annoying. It's very disappointing, actually. So I'm not sure what I can do to resolve that. Now it may well be that something is sticking. I don't think that's a technical phrase, but I think there's something that's conflicting on the computer, and that's very annoying. So we'll have to see if we can fix that before Tuesday. Okay. Now, Russian atrocities have been denounced by the Ukrainian church leaders. I was very disappointed to read the latest, um, the very latest sermon given by the patriarch of the Orthodox Church in Russia, um, which was made from a military chapel, and really condoned a lot of Russia's actions. It was very disappointing. Um, Parishes navigate obstacles to help refugees arriving in UK. Great. That's exactly what should be happening. Everyone pulling together. The House of Bishops' gender identity proposals have been criticised. I do want to click on that because I'm a bit concerned about what's going on in the UK. I know that the law, which was looking to ban the use of therapies, um, has removed transgender uh, out of the law, and I think that's a real shame. So let's have a look what that says. So an appropriate group to take this work forward says changing attitudes. The House of Bishops' decision was described on Tuesday by Reverend Colin Coward as astonishing and unnecessary. Okay, so this is the Church of England welcomes and encourages the unconditional affirmation of trans people equally with all people within the body of Christ, and rejoices in the diversity of that body into which all Christians have been baptized by one Spirit. It remains the current position of the C of E, which after decisions by the House of Bishops and the General Synod is committed to the liturgical marking of gender transitions and the opposite sex marriage in church of a trans person with legal gender recognition. Trans and non-binary people are welcome to enter the discernment process for ordination. Okay, so it's interesting, isn't it? This is, I mean, we are right in the middle of the living and love and faith consultation. I say we're in the middle, we're coming to an end, really. So hopefully a lot of this stuff will be dealt with by, by that process. But it looks to me like this is an issue that is not going to be not going to go away quietly, and not something that the House of Bishops or Synod can just kind of sweep under the carpet. It's one that's going to have to be just be grappled with, however welcome or not. It is obviously going to create more divisions within the church. I can see that now. Okay, now I'm not sure that there's anything else that we really want to go over, and so I think we won't. I think we will leave that. There's a few bits and pieces which I'd like to click on, but not now. All right, so that's interesting. So, war criminal. Look at this comment. War criminal. Putin should be tried, but how? I mean, that's going to be an interesting read. I do think I encourage you to come onto the Church Times website and have a good look, because it's brilliant. Even if you haven't got a subscription, I think you are allowed to read, I think it's either 2 or 3 articles a month without a subscription. So it's very well written and very, very interesting for anyone who's a Christian, certainly if you're a Christian in the UK. Now, what we're going to do now then is go over to our order of service. And the order of service this week is for Palm Sunday, as many of you will know. That means that the liturgy for tomorrow is very different from how we normally have it. Very different indeed. So let's have a look and see if we can work this out together. There are very clear instructions for any of you who are going to be worshipping online, and those of you who decide that that's what you want to do, there are those instructions there. It does tell you very clearly when to follow the actions of Father David, in terms of either crossing yourself, or striking your breast with a closed hand, or tapping your breast with an open hand. And so those are there. We've got what's known as an expandable accordion here, And the expandable accordion is something which you can click on and it will expand. I mean, it sounds a bit ridiculous that I explain that, but it's unless you've seen it happen, maybe it causes you a bit of confusion. And so this is the um, some of the liturgy for tomorrow, and you just scroll up, and as you see, you go down and you just click on the next bit, and it will open, and you carry on scrolling down. And that was done intentionally. It's done really to make sure that you uh, do stay engaged with everyone, that you do uh, follow the readings, and at the end of the reading, you know where you are, right? So it's quite difficult to get lost with this because it's step by step, and it's been done on purpose to keep you not just engaged but also uh, aligned with where we are, with where things are. So you should be able to find it relatively straightforward. Now, when you're looking at the hymns, there is something which we recommend, which is have a look at the hymns, and maybe it's something you know, maybe it's not something you know, but at the bottom here, we have a media player, and you are able to click on any of these and listen to the hymns as they will be played, listen to the music as they will be played inside the chapel. And so that's something which I urge you to have a look at because you're then able to practice when you're at home. Okay, I think that that's uh, quite wonderful, really. I'm not sure if there are any other churches you know that do that. Oh, we've had a message from Kent. That's very nice. So Kent has sent a great message saying, God bless you. God bless my ministry, Catholic Ministry Online, and God bless all those who have asked their prayers from me and prayers for the invasion of Ukraine and for the flood victims from Queensland and New South Wales. That's really lovely. Thank you, Kent. That's great. It's very important, I think, that we do acknowledge when people do write to us. It does show that yeah, it's something which is happening live. It's something which you are very, very welcome to get, involved in, and that's something we really do hope that you can join us tomorrow. The service tomorrow starts at 3 p.m. Bangkok time. Now, I know in England that's 6 hours behind. I'm not sure where you are, so I can't definitively tell you what time that will be where you are. But 3 p.m. Bangkok time, you'll be able to check your local time by just doing a quick search on any of the browsers, whether that's Google or Firefox or Safari. You'll be able to find out what time that starts. But we start promptly at 3 p.m. So I do hope that you decide to join us when we start, and I hope then that you enjoy the service. I think that one of the things we're quite proud of is the quality of the service, the quality of the liturgy, I suppose, and the fact that we endeavour um, to do things as well as we possibly can. The whole point, and Father David is at pains to remind me of this. The whole point is to, glorify God, and really, it shouldn't be something which is second rate. We really do need to we work to create something which is a very high standard, um, and I hope that comes through when you join us online. I think it does. I think we do um, you know create something which uh, is worthy, and and I hope that you will agree with that. I know that there is some debate about what's the best interpretation of church, and what's the best interpretation of Anglican church at that. But I do think as far as a little mission church in Thailand is concerned, which is effectively what we are, I really do think we do something rather special, um, and beautiful, right? So yes, I urge you to join us. Now, one of the things which I had a bit of a problem with earlier today was trying to see pictures on Facebook, and as a result of that, I haven't been able to get today's. Uh, Normally, we get a prayer for the day from the Church of England. Well, I haven't been able to do that, which is a little bit annoying because it's what we normally do. So that's part of our routine. Um, I, all I can do is apologise and say, well, I did try to get it from Facebook. It just didn't show, and I know it's there. I couldn't get it. Uh, I wasn't able to see it myself. So although there was a blank box with a colour, I wasn't able to copy and save it, and that's very annoying. But in any event, we will be saying the Lord's Prayer later on, and I hope for those of you who do join in, I hope that that's sufficient. Um, Now, I would like to just go over Father David's organ recital, because it's something which I think is very important, and I think it's a great opportunity for anyone who hasn't yet heard him to, uh, you know, to hear him play. Now, Father David, actually, I mean, I'm not saying anything that we haven't had a conversation about already. Father David is in his late 70s and will very soon effectively be 80 years old. So, um, in a couple of years he'll be 80, and you know, we can, with the best will in the world, hope that he continues, every year doing organ recitals and doesn't stop. But the reality is, every year he doesn't get any younger, and so that should be a factor, I think, in recognizing that this is potentially his last organ recital. It might not be. It might be another one next year. And there might be another one for the next 5 years. Who knows? Right? But I do think it would be terribly flippant if people assume that that's the case. If people assume that, well, never mind, we won't see him this year, we'll see him next year. Actually, don't do that. Take advantage of the fact that you can see him this year. Right? I encourage you. So I'm sharing with you the link to the organ recital. I've put it on the comments of Twitch, I've put it on the comments of Facebook, and I do encourage you, if you are in the UK, if you're in touch with churches in the UK, if you, maybe it's not your decision, maybe you could speak to other people who are involved in the parish council, or maybe you could have a chat with your vicar or rector or reverend or whoever is responsible for your church. There is a great opportunity to see Father David playing on your organ this summer, and what a shame to have missed that. So I encourage you all, please, if you would like to, then have a look at the webpage, contact Father David directly. You only have to click a button and an email will be created for you. So then you just have to fill in your details. It's very, very straightforward for you to do. So I do encourage you to do that, and think that and I'll be reminding everyone every week about this, because as we get closer and closer to when he's off to England, really the schedule, if there is a gap, then that maybe is a gap that could be filled by a visit to your church or chapel or almshouse or wherever. Okay, so do that. Now, it's coming to about 20 past, so I think what we will do now, bearing in mind we don't have a prayer for the day from the Church of England, we will focus on the Lord's Prayer, and whether this is something which you would normally want to join in with or not. I hope you stick around, if only to hear the prayer said. Um, I think it's something that's uh, very valuable, even if you are not taking part. So do stick around. And for the rest of us, let us pray in confidence to the Father as our Saviour has taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Now, I do hope that you have enjoyed our little chat. I know we haven't spoken for too long today, but we've covered the church times, maybe a bit too swiftly. Maybe I could have clicked into a couple of those articles and had a bit more of a chat about it. But hopefully I've given you a taste of the church times. And we've gone over the Eucharist. We've gone over the order of service for tomorrow, which is going to be a very, very different service from normal. So there are a couple of changes. There's not going to be a creed, and a couple of other changes too, but it will be a Palm Sunday to remember, and we hope that you are there with us. Certainly, it does make a huge difference knowing that there is a much, larger extended congregation out beyond the walls of the chapel, and it really, I think it's quite heartening when we see that people have caught up on the replay. So, although there might have only been 6 or 8 people inside the chapel, actually, over the course of a week, more than 100 people very often view the service. So, if that's you, if you are one of those people who do view the service later on, then thank you so much, because, you do add to the value of that service. That you are part of the reason for why we are. Now, I will say, as I always do, with prayers and best wishes, bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.